Now, with the news of the sale this week for an estimated $500 million, $500 million, some critics are saying that Al Gore is hypocritical, that he, as a politician, was a friend of Israel, and now he is happy to take Arab money because Al Jazeera, as you know, is financed in part by the government of Qatar. And the former vice president will make an estimated $70 million on the deal, according to Bloomberg News. What's your take on these allegations of hypocrisy?
This is a great business story, not a moral story. This is a story about how crony capitalism has completely captured American capitalism. Al Gore was able to get current TV on the air and get it on, by the way, with extremely favorable contracts because he was the former vice president. And because, as the former vice president, he might be able to do favors for people like, say, Rupert Murdoch, who at Dish TV acquiesced to a very favorable carriage deal for current TV, and according to Brian Stelter, an excellent reporter in the New York Times, actually helped Gore get capital to launch current TV. Now you see Time Warner Cable wants to renegotiate a deal before it's going to let Al Jazeera take over the current TV channel. Again, it's being couched as some sort of moral conflict. George Bernard Shaw would recognize this is a conflict about price, not virtue.
Time Warner Cable, by the way, which is not affiliated with CNN's parent company, Time Warner, has already said it would drop what had been current TV, and it's entitled to do that because if you completely change the programming and the naming and everything, the cable carrier doesn't have to continue. But let me play for you. There's been a lot of criticism on the right about this deal, as you know, Dave Marish. Let me play for you something that Bill O'Reilly had to say the other night.
Al Gore sold his cable network to, wait for it, Al Jazeera, the anti-American network out of Qatar, which recently ran a documentary sympathetic to Osama bin Laden. Al Gore has shamed himself simply by selling to Al Jazeera, which will now have access to about 40 million more American homes.
Now, Dave, is it fair to simply brand it the anti-American network? You worked there. You've had some experience with, obviously, with Al Jazeera English.
No, it's a vast oversimplification and not a particularly useful one. One ought to point out that, in fact, Rupert Murdoch sold the biggest individual minority share in the Fox News enterprise in News Corp to one of the richest guys in Saudi Arabia. Now, it's true that he's probably more aligned to American foreign policy than Al Jazeera might be, although the Al Thanis, the royal family of Qatar and the owners of Al Jazeera, have always been regarded as among America's best friends and most reliable allies in the Middle East.